All right, so hi, my name is Amy Williams, aka Amy Y'all. I think y'all know that. I'm a little bit late to start my class, and that's okay. I want to make sure though that everybody can hear me and that you can see me okay. I know at this point you can kind of see straight up my nose, which is not that cute. Again, had a much cuter angle planned, but here we are. So, what's up, Danny? So I guess if you can hear me, just be like, I can hear you, or you're yelling, or, yell, whatever you need. I'm used to doing this like while painting, and I never actually have to like look at myself, and it's much more comfortable that way. So cool. So if you're here, then you must know that I'm going to talk to you about going virtual, doing your own virtual classes. And I'm especially going to focus on how to go live on Facebook, because I feel like that's where all of your people are right now. So you got to be there too. And some of you may remember that I used to go live every month at my old job. I used to host a live project every month. I still honestly can't really believe that. It was a lot of work. And at first it was extremely weird and awkward and like messy, but it got a lot better with some practice. So that's kind of, I'm going to help you get to that point. And yes, Biscuit Imports just dropped the guideline to the class. I gave you a nice little handout. Looks like this. So hopefully you have that. I'm just going to go down that with you and kind of expand a little bit more, and tell you how to do this. So I'm excited. Hope you are too. I know that things are really super weird right now. This is kind of our new normal, being online and having to do stuff like this. But I really think that if you can get comfortable with this like new way of teaching, that this can help supplement your studio when when things get back into the groove. So I want you to kind of jump in. I'm going to give you a couple challenges. Sorry. So yeah, let's talk about why we have to do this. I kind of touched on that a little bit just now. This is our new normal. We have to, show up for our people online. Your Instagram, your Facebook, your Pinterest are now your storefront. This is your brick and mortar. So you have to give it the attention that you would normally. You're not like wiping down the paint bottles every day. So now you need to be making sure that your Instagram, your Facebook is really beefed up, So I know that I'm watching like my sister-in-law and other friends with kids on Facebook like kind of unravel, which is hilarious and also I'm sure very frustrating. So I think by hosting virtual classes, that's going to establish you right now as the expert in this field. So right now you may be the expert in paint your own pottery. This is kind of what people are coming to you for, but I'm going to help you and I want you to be the expert in fun, in unconventional family gatherings, because we're having beers on Zoom now. That's kind of the new normal. And I want you to be the expert in education, because like look at these homeschool situations. I know that like parents aren't equipped for this, so make it easy for them. Be like, this is what your kid is going to learn today. Make it valuable. That's what you want to be, kind of this expert in value. So where should you be holding these virtual classes, right? There are a few different places, and I think about it as like, who do I want to reach, or what's my goal? So Zoom now feels like a household name. I feel like nobody knew Zoom except for like, us professionals who are working from home all the time. But now, like I said, I'm having beers with Elaine's family on Sunday via Zoom because they can't come over, so I feel like this is where people are going now. And I think if you wanted to do something privately, like let's say a family reaches out to you and they can't see each other, but they want to have a family hangout, give them a Zoom link and then teach a private class for them. Like how fun would that be? I know that I would love to do that. So YouTube, you can go live on YouTube, and I know a lot of crafters that do that, but I think that is a little bit more for the reach aspect. They are not quite so local minded. So I'm thinking for us, YouTube is a really good resource to put our techniques. So let's say that you don't want to flat out hold a virtual class where this is the project that we're going to make every week. Maybe you want to say, hey, here's something that you can do at home. Here's how you do marbling, or here's how you do the lace technique. And if you come through today, I've got the kit ready for you. Just tell me that you want to try out marbling. So YouTube is a really good spot for kind of smaller scale, broader things like techniques, basically. And then there's Instagram, of course, my beloved Instagram. You can go live there. You can also do IGTV, which is really a super fun thing to play with. I think you guys should be playing with that right now, especially for things like techniques. You know, I wouldn't put a class there because I think you get capped out at maybe an hour. And I don't think that that's where the value is. I don't think people are sticking around on IGTV for an hour. Just keep that in mind. And you can go live there for sure. I like to go live there because I have a little bit more of a following on Instagram. They do make it a little bit harder for you. You can't, you can save the class only if immediately when it ends, you click the save button. And I can't tell you how many times I have forgotten to click the save button. I just boosted up on my computer chair a little bit, so maybe you're looking less up my nose. I hope you enjoyed that. So Instagram's the spot, but like I said, I'm going to focus on Facebook Live because I feel like that's where our people are. I feel like that's where your customers are. It's the easiest to digest, I think, because I know that my parents, you know, all of us, we're on Facebook all the time, and it is kind of like second nature. So I'm going to talk to you about how to go live there. So you may be wondering, like, Amy, what should I be teaching? You know, I've kind of covered techniques, but this is the time where you can just flat out hold some classes. You know, I think that it's time to pull out some of the old workshops that we've already had in our studios, you know, some that maybe weren't as attended as you wanted to be, or you had to cancel for last minute, or just ones that people really liked, like call this classic, call this, you know, crowd favorite. Just pull out these ones that are already done, because you don't necessarily right now have time to reinvent the wheel. I was told that once at my old job, like, stop trying to reinvent the wheel, you know, just pull stuff that's already done. And as a creative, I can tell you that's extremely hard. You know, like I want to reinvent the wheel, and that's what I'm drawn to. But right now, there's just no need. You know, while you can get a good base of classes under your belt for virtual, you know, learning, virtual teaching, then you can go back and start being like, well, how can we get creative with this? You know, you could throw big virtual parties later, but right now you don't have to get there. Start with what you already have. Pull samples down from the store and turn those into classes, you know, especially ones that were copied often. Boom, there's your next class. Also, I've put in here that people want a comfort craft. I'm working on trying to get that trademarked, if anybody can help me out with that. And so just get it out as quickly as possible. You know, time doesn't really exist right now. I don't know what day it is. I don't know. I'm not going to bed at a decent hour. I'm not waking up at a decent hour. Nothing is real. Just get it out, you know, just get it out there. So places like Biscuit Ports, especially, they are providing you with extremely valuable technique sheets and summer camp guides. Like, they have done all the work for you. So go on to Biscuit Ports today. That's my challenge for you. You have to go on there today and go to their resources, go to their technique sheets. They have craft resources, they have glass resources. I don't think you want to send people home with glass right now, but hey, maybe in the future you'd be very bold. But they have pottery, they have craft, canvas, they have all of that stuff done for you with a materials list, with marketing photos. Like, they've done the work for you. So I challenge you to go through those today and pull something adult and pull something out for a kid. So kid, summer camp guides are there for you. There are 7 summer camp guides. I happen to know that one of them was released today. That's volume number 7. I did that one. Little old me did that whole thing, and there are 25 projects there that I love and feel very passionate about and think are very good. Again, I could be very biased, but there are your kids. Sorry, I have my notifications on, and every time y'all steady tagging me. Okay, which is great. Keep doing that. So yeah, there are your kids' curriculum, because again, that's what we're going for. Bree mentioned this yesterday when she and Krista went live. You are no longer providing just fun. You are providing curriculum. You know, so go to these places and pull out different projects and spin it to be like, this is your art class for today. And when you start doing stuff like that, moms are going to be like, oh sweet, I can just go down to paint and pick out 3, you know, Picasso related things, and here's a fun one, and here's what they're going to learn. And then also while I'm there, I'll pick up like something for mommy, you know what I mean? So make sure that you're checking those out. That's my challenge for you today, especially volume 7, because your girl had some sleepless nights over that one. All right, so when should you go live? When should you put this out there for everyone? like I said, time does not exist right now, so you can get away with like something midday. I mean, it's 2:15 and there are almost 60 of you here, so think about it like that. And also, this is a time, again, that we're going to spend all of our time on the internet, and you are looking for that engagement from your customer because your Instagram and your Facebook and your Pinterest are now your storefront. You need that engagement. So just ask them, hey, you know, we've got this amazing class lined up and we want to know what time works best for you. Tell us below, or vote on this poll, or send me a DM. Like, we want to hear what's up. We want to hear what works best for you and your family because, again, you want to be that expert in fun and in value. Right? Value. So, let's see. I have my little list off to my side that I make sure that I'm telling you guys everything. I just want to make sure that I'm getting there. All right. So, when it comes to marketing and packaging, so you have to now find a way to provide your customer with the experience that they would have if they walked into your store. They're used to walking in the door and hearing you be like, what's up, y'all? So glad to have you, seeing your colors, seeing how clean everything is. Now you have to do that in a to-go package. So make sure that you're branding these things out. I saw Potteryland in Texas. She's got these beautiful boxes. Like, that looks incredible. You know, you're getting something like crazy branded, crazy professional, where if I got that at my house, I'd be like, dang, this is worth it. So it all comes back to that value. So just make sure that you are slapping stickers on stuff, that you are, you know, putting your business card, you know, stapled somewhere. Like, you want to make sure that when that leaves your business and turns up at somebody else's house, that they know exactly where it came from and who provided this extremely fun and valuable thing. So make sure that you're posting about it, make sure that you're emailing about it, and make sure that you are providing context about this class. Something that I see a lot is we as PYOP business owners are not providing enough context at our online. So we are following 100 different other paint your own pottery studios, and we are seeing all day long to-go kits and classes and all this other stuff. And then when it comes time for us to give that to our customers, we're just expecting them to know what we're talking about. So just make sure that you are saying, hey, this is Ammie from Ammie Y'all, and I'm going to do an online class, and it's for, you know, adults. This one is, and I'm going to show you exactly how to paint this. You're going to get this to-go kit. You're going to have these instructions. And just make sure that you're telling them exactly what to expect, and then you're also telling them, you know, what you expect from them. You have to come pick this up, and you have to be ready on Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so that way we can just have the best time ever, right? So I'm really, really big on providing context. Let's see. So I also had this kind of late night idea, and just bear with me, this could be ridiculous. I love the idea of like a virtual punch card. You know, you've attended this class, you've picked up this to-go kit, here's your punch. Once you get 10 punches, you get something for free or deeply discounted. Like, I think that's going to help you provide that like in-studio, like fun, like, oh, this is kind of a new wacky thing that we're doing that is still very valuable. So I would consider something like that. Go into Canva, make up a little card, put your logo on it, and be like, what's up, you know, get your 10 punches and see what you can get. So at this point, I'm gonna take a break, drink some water. And do you guys have any questions on what we've covered so far? I'm gonna go up and kind of look at the comments. Yeah, handwritten notes, huge. I just talked about that yesterday. I love that touch. Say thank you. Be like, I really appreciate this. A lot of good stuff about the summer camp guide. That's awesome. Thanks, y'all. All right, cool. So any questions so far? I didn't actually drink any water. God, what an unflattering angle. Sorry, doesn't matter. All right, so nobody's got questions, which is fine. It's great. I'm not going to force you to ask me a question. Good. I'm glad you guys like the punch card idea, because I was like, I don't think this makes a lot of sense, but anyway. All right, so let's talk about Wendy's got something. How are we supposed to get to-go kits to our customers if we are closed now? So that's a state situation. I wish I had a better answer for you. I know here in Atlanta, we can still, if you are an essential business and can prove that you are selling something essential, you still can stay open and do that stuff. If you are not, if you're fully out closed, which I guess, Wendy, you may be, consider holding some classes right now that are not pottery, you know, and maybe they're free and maybe they're just kind of some goodwill stuff that gets your name in your customer's mouth about the place to be, I guess. Can you give an example of what to include in the to-go kit? Yeah, I mean, so, all right, so if you, let's say last Friday I taught on my Instagram, I taught how to make this design on this plate. If I were sending this home with you, I would say, I would package out this plate. I would package just little 2 ounce to-go containers like condiment cups, some brushes that you probably, I'm kind of, as not a business owner, I don't, when it comes to margins and stuff, like I don't know if it's worth it to ask them to bring the brushes back, or if you should just give them brushes that you don't ever want to see again. And then I would include instructions. So that's a great point. So I'm glad you brought that back up. If you are doing something that is a dedicated, like we're going to make this project together, I highly suggest that you send some instructions along with them and make sure that they are the most concise instructions that you have ever written. I know that sometimes I write something and I think like, oh, I blew it out of the park. This is amazing. And then I'll have my girlfriend read it and she's like, what does this even mean? Like I've referenced something that doesn't make any sense to anyone but me. So just make sure that you're sending home some very clear instructions, because you have the people that will not show up for your live and just going to paint off your instructions. Sorry, let me make sure that I am getting all these. I know Biscuit Imports also, they have a ton of good like resources about make and take stuff. So make sure that you're going there. They can give you all that, what can go in. Packaging ideas, yeah, I mean, if you can do some kind of branded boxes, I know UPS and FedEx, they make that kind of stuff. If you have that in the budget, go for it. If you don't, get you know, paper bags or whatever you're packaging, your plastic bags that have your logo on it. Just make sure that your logo is somewhere, because if that comes home, you know, after sitting in someone's car for a while and they don't remember where it came from, then what's the point, you know? Make sure your logo's everywhere. What's the turnaround for bisque orders place? Oh yeah, I'm not your girl for that one. Sorry, Teresa. Bisque Imports are just my best friend. I don't know stuff like that. Zoom classes, question mark. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Yeah, Belinda says we're doing contactless front porch delivery. That's awesome. That's great. I know my girlfriend who is just showing up with groceries, you're going to see her in the background. That's what her business is doing. They're doing contactless popsicle delivery. Okay. Would like more info about Zoom, because if they are paid, Facebook is not a good platform. So why is Facebook not a good platform? You can go private. You know, you can make a group for just that class and they have to join that class and you have control over that. But if you want to go Zoom, that's fine. You get to be you are like the owner, the manager of the meeting, and you just send out the link to everyone. Just like I know if you've attended a couple of the other virtual online classes that Biscuit Imports has put out, like Courtney's class, and I think even Bree's yesterday, Bree and Krista's, theirs was Zoom based. We just got a link in the email and I clicked on that link when it was time to start and I was instantly in the meeting. So just play around with that a little bit. It's free. There are paid versions, but I don't think you need the paid version, honestly. Can we save our virtual workshop so that people can see them after the fact? Yes, Facebook saves everything for you. Instagram makes it a little bit harder. Elaine, are you done?
I'm trying to.
So sorry, you guys. We could only pick up our groceries between 2 and 3, and so of course it's right now. And Zoom, Zoom, you can record the phone call and send that out later. I know if you just go back and look at what Biscuit Imports has been putting out, you can see exactly what that looks like. You're saving that content and then re-uploading it later if you want. Okay. All right, so how do you do a private Facebook Live? Do you mean like an event? And yeah, you could go live in the event, but no, you can make a group on Facebook. And this is something that Kim, you and I can talk about later if you still need it. But you can go onto your Facebook within your business. You can make a private group. You know, this could be your VIP group. This could be the boho flowers plate group, and then people have to request to join it. You can send that information out in the email or on your Facebook page, and then bye. And then people come into it from there, and you can go live within the group. So no one can see it but the people that are allowed to be in there. But again, we'll talk about that more if you need that later. I won't forget. All right, so let's talk about what you need to do before you go live on any platform. I mean, even Zoom, you still need all this stuff. It all translates. So you need to invest in a table mount. Boom. Here is my table mount. It is from Archon. It is the best purchase I've ever made. It is pricey, I will say, but again, this is our new normal. This is the stuff that you need to make sure that you are creating the best, most valuable thing that you can. I like this table mount because it has a sturdy bottom, unlike other ones that clip to a table that wave when you get to going a little too hard, which I tend to do a lot. This one stays nice and flat. So at the bottom, I've told you, at the bottom of your handout, right here, I have told you exactly which this is, and given you a coupon code that'll give you 20% off if you use it. So it's super flexible. You can move everything around. This is how I record all of my videos, whether they are live or whether they are edited later. Gail, don't buy it on Amazon. You have to buy it on archon.com. Use my coupon code. And then we all get paid. Mostly just me. Sorry, guys. Can you send the link to purchase the table mount? Yeah, I'll give that to Biscuit Imports, and they can give that to you. So deeply, really invest in a table mount. It's going to be your new best friend. And then next up, you have to clean your workspace. What you guys cannot see is that my desk is pretty clean for once, because you don't want any distractions when you are working. Emma, if you scroll up to Biscuit Imports has given you the handout that you can download. So it's somewhere within these comments. All right, so clean your workspace, make sure that you have everything that you need for your class within arm's reach. I will tell you, if you can have a helper, it is so nice because you will forget something and it will be awkward. This is the kind of content that people are jumping in and out of. So if people decide to jump in at the exact moment that you were across the room trying to get the paint color that you forgot, people are going to come into an empty screen and you're not going to be there, and they're going to be like, well, why should I stay? And they're going to dip. I know there's actual science behind this, but I think you get 3 seconds when you're going live on anything, or even if you have a video, and if that 3 seconds doesn't catch your customer, then they're out. So just make sure that you're here and present. And if you have somebody helping you, it's a lot easier than getting up to be like, oh, let me just grab this. You can just yell at Elaine, for instance, and be like, bring me that pencil I forgot. So it is a little bit hard to manage a class, especially when it is just you. I mean, right now, I want to tell you about everything, but also answer all your questions. So if you can have somebody nearby, especially, when you're painting, there's not going to be a ton of active talking. You're not trying to get verbal information across. You're trying to get, painting information across. But if you can have somebody with you to call out the questions and help you kind of maintain what's coming through, that is really helpful. If you cannot, I always log into the live that I'm putting on from my personal account on another device. So if I'm doing a Facebook Live and I'm broadcasting from my cell phone, then I have grabbed my iPad and I'm going to broadcast from there. Or I'm going to join the live and watch so that I can see stuff coming in. Because if my phone is up here in my table mount showing you what I'm painting, then I can't see your questions or your comments coming in. So I need another device that's open to help me manage that. So that takes a little bit of some time to kind of work out. You have to, wait till you're live to join it. So that's just something I do at the top where I'm like, hey, what's up? I'm just going to start this on another, on my other device so I can see what you guys are saying to me. Yeah, Courtney, it's the only way I do it these days because you want to see what people are saying. All right, so you want to set up by a natural light source if possible. I'm right here by this window and it's making everything look a lot better. Obviously, if you're going to go live at night, you don't have that. And if you're in your studio, you probably have better lighting. But if you're trying to do this stuff from your house, I would invest in some lamps that have natural light bulbs in them. So Oot Light, I believe, is a good brand. I can also send that out to you later. I always want to call them Ooh Lights because that's just the word that we're used to. Thank you, Krista. Yeah, there's the handout if anybody's asking for it. She just dropped it in there. Yeah, and make sure, Laura, if you are going to use another device, make sure that that sound is turned off on that device, because then you start to hear yourself talk and it turns into like this weird, like crazy house music level wave music for everybody at home. All right, so if you're feeling nervous, if you don't do a lot of go lives, as Bree calls them a go live, which always makes me laugh. I just say if you don't go live often. Write yourself out a handout. I mean, my God, I've got an outline for this class right in front of my face and I'm referencing it and it is helping me feel better. And that's also one of my favorite things to do with training. When the world goes back to normal and maybe you let other people teach your classes, that is what I require when I have someone teaching a workshop for me or a summer camp class. I make them outline their entire class and write approximate time guesses, beside, like, okay, I'm going to intro the class and that's going to take me 5 minutes. And within that intro, I'm going to say who I am. I'm going to say what we're doing, what materials we're using, blah, blah, blah. And just don't make it weird. Like, if you have to reference it. Tell people that's what you're doing, I think everyone is trying to be, not everyone. I think it's very easy to feel like you need to be a different version of yourself on the internet when really, like, you just don't have to, just tell people what's up. Again, it all comes back to context for me. Like, let me just check my notes really fast to make sure I'm giving you exactly what I told you I was going to give you. You know what I mean? All right. So here's where my personality really comes into play. Okay. I love cooking shows. I love the Martha Stewart show. I used to skip school when I was little to watch Martha Stewart. That is just like eventually where I want to be. Like, I hope to be on your TV, or YouTube, whatever, one day telling you how to do all this stuff, because it's just my favorite thing ever. And something that makes television so fun is that everyone's lying. You know what I mean? Like, when you're watching these cooking shows, they're not sitting around waiting for the beef to braise. You know what I mean? They have what are called swaps in the industry. Make your own swaps. This was something that was huge for me in my Facebook Live classes when I was doing a project every month. I would paint my sample beforehand so that I had something to market, right? Because everybody needs to see the painted sample. It's extremely helpful within your class to pull that in and say, this part right here is what I'm trying to show you. But then also paint a version that is like almost done, and then step back a little bit and paint one. You want to go finished, you want to go almost finished, and you want to go like medium, because no one wants to sit around and watch you paint. I know things are a little bit different now, like you're trying to squeeze in an actual full, what would be 3-hour class in your studio. You're trying to do it on Facebook Live, but think about within that 3-hour class in your studio, people are talking to their friends, they're getting up, getting more wine, they're going to the bathroom. You need that time to make it feel valuable, right? Like if you were just boom, 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 this is what we're doing and this is so strict, people wouldn't have fun in your studio. So I feel like that's why we're drawing everything out, is to make sure people are getting to eat and they get to show up late, because you know how all that goes. But in a live, nobody wants to stick around for 3 hours. So my sweet spot is about an hour to an hour and a half. And sure, you're like, I know you're gonna be like, but Amy, they need to paint the project. They totally do, but don't forget that they have the instructions that you've sent home with them that are extremely detailed and telling them exactly what they need to be doing. They don't necessarily need to see you completely filling in the background on the plate, because they know that that's what's next. And think about it too, this kind of content thrives on the replay. Do you know what I mean? Like, you guys are watching this live, which is amazing. I really appreciate you guys showing up. But there will be the same amount more that are going to watch this later, because it's going to be on their timeline. And they don't need to see me painting, 3 coats of anything. So I really recommend making these swaps and getting halfway there and showing, on the sample that you're currently working on, okay, this is what we're going to be doing. Letting people work through that a little bit, putting it to the side and saying, okay, when you're done, it should look like this. Because, they don't need to watch you paint everything. They just need to know kind of the main points of it. Does that make sense for everybody? Invest in your swaps. Finish your swaps out after the class and then sell them. If you're like, oh, but I don't want to paint 3 samples. I mean, I get it, but sell them, because somebody's going to finish their project and, they might not like it. They want to buy yours, or they want to give yours as a gift. All right, so before your class, before you go, lay out all your supplies. You don't want to be pouring out paint, shaking the table, all that kind of stuff. Just have it ready to go. Like a cooking show. They have their mise en place, if you will. It's all set out in front of them, so just make sure that you're doing the same. And so importantly, before you get started, just take a deep breath. You know what I mean? Just like, because this is weird. This is so weird. Like, no one should really be doing this. Do you know what I mean? Like, we live in a time where this is normal, and I don't know. I mean, it's cool and it's super fun, and I really like to engage with you guys this way, but it's awkward and strange, and I'm looking at myself and I'm talking to you, and it's just weird. So just take a second and just be like, I'm gonna have the most fun. I know what I'm doing. This is the greatest thing ever. Shake out your willies and then just go. Because again, like the first 5 minutes, they're gonna be stupid. They're gonna be awkward. They're gonna be strange. And then you're gonna get in the groove of it, and it's gonna be great. So I'm gonna take a break and ask for any questions right now. How do you find that balance between the project and just one more glass of wine during class? I am really big about pacing. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, you can drink your wine, but Christy, this is where we all are, and you got to get there. Do you know what I mean? And I kind of have the personality where I can call you out a little bit and like kind of make it a joke, but then not really actually be joking. And you kind of just have to learn to do that, if that makes sense. Like, you can drink your wine, but also like, I'm getting out of here at 9 o'clock. I'll say maybe till 9:10 for you, but I'm getting out of here, so you better make sure that you finish your project, kind of thing. So you do wait for them to complete the step before you start your next directive. Dana, ideally, like, yes, but you know that like you're not gonna that not everybody paints as fast as you do. And there will be some people that are ready to go and some people that aren't. And for me, I'm trying to value everybody. And I want to ride that line of like, okay, if you're ready to go, I don't want you sitting around, waiting around and finding something else to do on the internet. And if you're not where you need to be, we can circle back together. So I would just ask the room, just like we're doing here, just like, okay, how's everybody doing? Where are you at? If you need a second, I'm going to give you 2 more minutes. I love like verbal call outs. Like, all right, we got 2 more minutes, then we're going to move on to the next step. And while you're not having to paint because you've got that swap ready, you can start to answer these questions with a little bit more dedication because you're not focusing on creating a piece of finished pottery. I always say it is amazing what you can say sometimes with a Southern accent and a smile. God, Charlene, that is so real. That is so real. Just Bree knows the power of a bless your heart. We hit her with one last week. So yeah, any other questions before we talk about what you need to do during your live? I'm going to take another sip of water and take another deep breath. I wish someone were here with me, like literally, just to look at. I don't have to look at myself all the time. All right. So let's talk about what you need to be doing during your live. I touched on some of them a little bit, but let's talk about that. So I have in here watch your music, which it was late when I was typing. I don't mean like, watch it. But you got to be careful because Facebook, especially Zoom, it doesn't matter. I haven't found that. Thanks, Elizabeth. I haven't found that so much. But Facebook, robots are listening. And if you are using a song that you do not own, which I don't own a song. I don't think you do either. They're going to shut down your video. So during the live, it's going to be totally fine. But then when you try to save that live and then upload it later, they're going to say, hey, we see that you've used some copywritten music and we're not down for that. We'll give you your live without audio, but we won't give it to you as is unless you can prove that you own the rights to that music. And that's extremely frustrating. My friends at As You Wish just went through that on Friday. They had an excellent 80s themed playlist in the background, and because of it, they got their video got muted, and they can't now use what would have been like a 2.5 hour video resource for their clients or their customers because they were playing like Billy Joel in the background. So be really careful with that. I suggest that you tell your customers, like, get some tunes in the background, like listen to whatever you want to listen to, put on your favorite movie. And if you really feel like you can't handle the silence, then search on YouTube for like royalty-free music, and you can have at least some background music. But really, really watch out for that because Facebook, they're really cracking down. I mean, Instagram too. I posted a story the other day and I was watching a TV show in the background and the theme song was playing and they instantly blocked my story because they picked up that it was a theme song And they know that I don't own the rights to the opening of Scrubs. So be careful there. So start your class just like you would in person. Again, we're treating the internet like it is our storefront. You are in my house right now. You're in my studio, and I'm going to tell you exactly what we're going to be doing. Here's who I am. Here's why I'm the expert in this. We're going to have so much fun. Here's all the materials that you need. Do you have your materials? Make sure you have your materials. Just start it out like normal, because that will calm you down, but it won't, or wear earbuds. Yeah, you could wear earbuds, I guess. But starting the class as normal, like you would in your studio, is going to help you feel like, okay, this isn't weird. This is just, I'm used to this. I know what I'm doing, kind of thing. And I'm a big, like I've mentioned before, like context. Tell people exactly what you're doing. Tell them how you're going to teach. Like I start every class saying, I'm going to show you what to do, and then you're going to do it. And I feel like that once you set the tone, everything is smooth from there. So here's a big one that I feel very passionate about. You have to act like 1 million people are watching that live with you, because there will be times, when you're watching and like maybe 6 people will show up. And if you're like, oh, there are only 6 people here. Oh, what a waste. That makes those 6 people feel like really bad. And somebody told me this in a seminar once. They're like, if those 6 people were standing in your house or in your studio, you wouldn't be like, oh my God, only 6 people are here. So keep that in mind. And again, this is the content that is meant to be rewatched later, and they don't tell you the numbers later. So if no one is here and you're talking to somebody and you're staying upbeat and you're not like being weird about it, no one knows later that nobody was actually watching you. So just keep that in mind. Just pretend like everybody's there. You got a full house. Just pretend like they're all there. Let's see. Let me check my notes. Okay. So here's something when you go live, and then even in especially when you go live, I feel like Zoom is a little bit less like this because everybody shows up kind of when you're supposed to at Zoom. When you go Facebook Live and it's public, people are kind of jumping in, jumping out as they want, and they're going to say hey to you. You have to do what feels right to you. And I kind of treat it as like, if you walked into my studio and I'm in the middle of giving instruction about a class, I'm going to give you like the nod and the what's up, and then, not break what I'm doing. I'm not going to be like, okay, so next, this tip is really super important. Oh my God, hey Jessica, what's up, girl? Because that's just going to throw everybody off. It feels good to like be told hey and like acknowledge that that you've shown up for this live with your, with your friend or whatever. But I never want to be taken out of the moment for one, to acknowledge one person when everybody else is waiting on me. That is a personal thing. Do what you need to do. You guys are all studio owners and you see people, you see your customers more than I do. If you feel like you need to say, hey, what's up to everybody that walks into the room in the moment they say, hey, go for it. You have to do what's right for you. Because if you don't, it feels weird and it's awkward and people can like see it and they cringe a little bit. I say this to everyone that teaches summer camp for me. Children are like sharks. They can smell fear. And if you are the least bit, nervous or fearful, that comes across very loudly, especially on the internet. And I just, you got to do what feels good for you. Because if you're trying to do it like somebody else would do it, people are going to just quietly close out the window and then turn back on Netflix or whatever. All right. So that's just me. You guys may have a different take on that, and that's fine too. So there's a lot of downtime in these lives, right? You're painting and people are painting and it's hard to paint and type at the same time. So you're not necessarily getting like inundated with comments constantly. And you will learn that it can get kind of awkward, and as much as I want to be the type of person that's like, okay, everyone, while we're working on this, like, why don't you tell me your biggest dreams and your hugest fears? Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to be that person, but like, nobody really wants to tell me that live on Facebook. So just read your room a little bit, try to ask a couple questions to get some conversation going. Because again, it's all about engagement. And when people are responding to you, when they're typing and pressing enter, that's engagement. So try it out, ask a couple questions, and you don't have to get so specific like about fears like I just did. You can just be like, what are you guys up to today? Like, what are you doing this weekend? Like, what's the craziest quarantine Amazon purchase that you've made? Because for me, it was $100 pair of Italian clogs that looked like Crocs. Isn't that crazy? You know what I mean? People are, when you start to give them stuff like that from you, they will respond, and then it's more fun. It feels like we're all in this kind of together. You know what I mean? So during your live, you want to make sure that, especially during these breaks, if someone's filling in, like, either painting their background or whatever, and you're choosing not to do it, which is totally fine because you have your swaps, right? Make sure that you are using that time to show them what is coming up, show them the sample for the next class, show them this to-go kit, show them your kid, whatever. You just want to keep them engaged and talking about what's next. And also ask them, hey, what do y'all want to see next? What do you want to make with me? What should we do together next week? Because again, you can get this stuff turned around pretty quickly. And my last tip here for during the live, you just have to be yourself. If you do not feel comfortable doing this, my answer to you is to have someone else do it. I know that it feels a little bit weird, but people on the internet are looking for other people, and people on the internet want to see people that they trust and that they like and that they can relate to. And if you feel too nervous and too, or not even nervous, if you just don't want to flat out do it, if this does not spark any kind of joy in you or excitement, then maybe talk to one of your employees that, like, everybody knows that is really personable, that could really kill this for you. Because if you don't want to be here, it's going to show. And I'm going to be like, ooh, I might not attend another one of those classes because Jessica was just really upset the whole time, So just keep that in mind. You do what feels good for you. And if that's having someone else do it, then great. All right, so before the after, I'm going to take a second and answer some questions. Let's see. How do we advertise the class? Can we create an event with video on Facebook? So if I were advertising my live class, I would put it everywhere possible. I would put it on Facebook. I would put it on Instagram. I would send out an email blast about it with pictures, because people, samples sell. Y'all know that. Can we create an event with video on Facebook? So I don't know exactly what you mean. You can certainly create an event for your Facebook Live on your Facebook page. I used to do that at my old spot and would get people to RSVP for it. It also gives people notifications when that live is about to start. So I highly suggest that you make an event for your Facebook Live. When it comes to actually creating an event post that utilizes a video, I'm not sure if you can do that. I know that you can drop a video in the event post, but I'm not sure forward facing if it will allow video posts. I hope that answers your question. Does anybody else have another question while we're here? Yeah, Drew, you gotta do a Facebook Live. It's super weird at first, but it's also really fun. And also, I mentioned at the beginning, like, this is your first few are going to be really messy and really weird, but now is the time. Like, I feel like everybody's empathy level is a little bit higher than normal, and they're not going to eat you alive if you mess up the first couple. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like people are being a lot more patient online than they ever have been. So now is the time to be weird and messy and figure it all out. So that way it's a little bit more streamlined when the world goes back to normal, because you still should be doing Facebook Lives. Even if it's not a virtual class, you should be, unboxing live. You should be like showing off new bisque live, all that kind of stuff. All right. Let's see. Okay. So my last point here, doing pretty good on time. My last point, this is what you should be doing after your live. So after the live is over, you have clicked end. You want to encourage your customers, well, I guess beforehand and after, you want to encourage your customers to share their finished pieces. You also ask them to take pictures of their workspace. Ask them to take pictures of their family painting together. Or if it's a virtual party in Zoom, like we talked about earlier, ask them for screen caps. Like, that is so fun, and people are loving seeing that content right now. So, people want to give it to you, ask them for it. Say, hey, send me a picture of your setup. We'd love to see it. We'd love to share it. And then when you're having your customers share their experiences like that, especially in a picture, excuse me, that's going to give their friend list FOMO, which, if you don't know, FOMO is fear of missing out. And that is your greatest, incentive. That's what gets people to you, because they're like, oh, well, Jennifer looked like she had a really good time. And, let's say, like, this woman's showing it to her husband, and she's like, well, Jennifer's husband did it, and look how fun he did, and he made himself a beer stein, so why won't we do it? You know, so I feel like if you are having your customers shout that out for you and tag you and stuff, that's going to be the best advertisement possible. So make sure that you're asking them for that. After the live is over, go through your comment box, because again, this video is going to save. It will stay up on your Facebook page forever. So go through and comment on everything, every question that is asked, because again, we're thinking about the customers that are not watching in real time. We're thinking about the customers that are coming in later. They're not going to go through and watch your entire hour-and-a-half long video. They're going to plus 15 to the spots that they need to see, but they're going to rely on that handout that you've given them. And if they're going through and they're seeing that questions have been asked that seem important and they're not being answered, they might not complete your project, or they might not have the most successful finished product. So make sure that you're going through, you know, not for the person that asked the question, but for other people later, saying, okay, well, this is the brush that I used, and don't forget to thin down your paint just a little bit, because it helps, you know, the paint go a little bit further with lettering, you know, especially. That's kind of my biggest tip. So make sure that you're commenting on everything. And lastly, share that video to your Facebook page, your business and your personal, you know, if you want to go there, and thank everybody for coming. You know, say thanks, you know, everybody that came out to my boho flowers class last night. We had an excellent time. I cannot wait to see everybody's pieces fired. They were wonderful. You know, tell them exactly what you did. We made this, it was great. Tell them exactly where they can find that video if they want to recreate it at home later. And then tell them what's next, and tell them how to find that. Here's the link to the next class. Hope to see you there. You know, tell me in the comments if we're going to see you there. Tag somebody that you want to paint with virtually. This is the new fun thing. You know, you make it sound like this is the best, funnest thing of all time, because that's going to elicit that FOMO in the people that didn't show up for your class. All right, so those are all of my notes so far on how to host a successful virtual class with a focus on going live on Facebook. Let me go through some questions. So the phone holder I use, okay, Drew. I have the one that you're talking about. It's called the creator special or something like that. I have that. It's not necessary. That's the $130 one. Go for the $100 one. I have on the handout that you'll find if you scroll through the comments, I have the exact item number for the one that I use. They don't name it things that are helpful. They have named this product the phone or camera stand for baking, crafting, nail art, ceramics, or makeup videos. That doesn't really roll off the tongue. But this is the one I have. This is the one that I suggest. I don't think you need the one with the ring light. That's just me. And I know that I think Bree has dropped in the table mount that I use link. So go up there and see. How long should we give them to pick up materials before hosting the event? Is 2 weeks, 1 week not enough time to give people to plan a class online? Okay. So Erica, time is not real anymore. I don't know what day it is. I'm eating meals at very strange hours of the day. I think everybody else is feeling that way. I don't think you need to plan 2 weeks out. I think people are wanting to do stuff right now. I think they have hit their limit with quarantine and they need some distractions. So I would get this out ASAP. I have on the handout, which you can scroll up and find and download, I think you can get this out in as little as 5 days. That's me. But you know your customers and you know how long it takes for them to get in, especially if you're doing delivery, which honestly it may be the only thing you can do right now, but it also may be really worth your time if they're within a certain, a mile range from your studio. Maybe you don't rely on them coming to pick it up. Maybe you deliver it for them for a little extra fee, or maybe not. Thanks, Wendy. Thanks, Krista. Just bought mine. Good. Awesome, Kristen. Make sure that you used your, make sure you use that coupon code, Ammie, all for 20% off. Okay, we're doing polls with pictures in our private group, asking for audience engagement on what projects they want to see. Yeah, that's awesome, Teresa. Now's the time. Everybody's on their phones constantly, and just make it fun for everybody and make it feel like their voice is being heard. Because I know as a consumer, that's what I want. Awesome. You guys have been amazing. I'm going to stick around for a little bit longer to see if you guys have any questions. It is a little awkward since it's just me. Let's see. I could do a dance for you, but I shouldn't. That's, yeah, I don't know. Thanks, guys. And again, if for the 57 of you still here, the coupon code Sharon is at the bottom of the handout. It's just Ammie, y'all. It's just my handle. And you're gonna get 20% off, and that's essentially gonna cover shipping, which is huge. And I just got an email for them today. They are considered an essential business, so that should get to you pretty soon because they are cranking out the orders. Don't forget the summer camp guide that I created, volume 7. It's got my face on it. That is live and ready to go. Please make sure that you are downloading those, and don't wait until summer. Use those projects now. It's time. You know what I mean? Like, use them again in summer for sure, but try it out now. And the handout, yeah, just like this Comport said. Check out my handout. You can print this out and keep this nearby for your, your checklist for a virtual class. Can we talk about where to look on your phone? Courtney, look at the camera. You have to look where the little dot is. And I have, as always, watching over me, I have my Princess Bowl. I don't let anyone see her face because she is so ugly, UGLY. She does not have an alibi, and I'm so embarrassed and ashamed that I won't let anybody see her face. Maybe one day when I hit it big, I will show Princess Bowl, but for now she just sits up and watches over me and protects me. She's my guardian angel, my guardian princess. I did do a rap dance on my story, so that's around for a little bit longer. You should go check that out. All right, so I feel like we got everything. If you have any questions, by all means, leave it in the comments. I'll check this video later and answer them. You can email me if you want. You're not going to find me on Facebook as easily. You can find me on Instagram a lot easier. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get better at Facebook, but I'm telling you, do what feels comfortable for you. Facebook's not super comfortable for me all the time. So find me on Instagram if you need me. Yes, Princess Bolt is crying. I'm crying just looking at her. Thank you guys. I love y'all. You're the greatest. Thank you, Biscuit Ports, for having me. Can't wait to do this again in person next time. Bye.